Hello, my name is Ripley. Welcome to the video.
What is up, my schmucks? I am back from my unintentional hiatus, and today we're gonna talk Black Widow. Whoop whoop! Here we go. Black Widow is the 24th MCU movie and tells the story of what Natasha Romanoff was up to between the events of Captain America Civil War and Avengers Infinity War. And yeah, I expected nothing from this movie, but it turns out it's pretty good. So let's start with the good and what I liked about this movie, and then we can move into what I had some issues with. First up, this is definitely Scarlett Johansson's best go at this character. Not to say that she wasn't good before, she's always been good at this role, I've always enjoyed her in this role, I think she has a good performance all the time, but she's always been in the background and played second fiddle to the major players of this universe, and it's really nice to see her in the spotlight, and Johansson handles it perfectly. That said, Florence Pugh as Yelena Belova was the best part of the movie. She's so good. She managed to balance the kick-ass assassin side of the character and the genuinely hilarious jokey side of it too. There are also a few emotional moments in this movie, and she delivers them terrifically. It might be because Florence Pugh is a really good actress, but I'm not entirely sure. However, as good as Yelena is, and she is very good, she does feel like just another MCU character, and I want to talk about that more in a little bit. Another thing I really liked is I liked how this movie felt different from other MCU movies. A bit more grounded and mature, kind of on par with Falcon and the Winter Soldier, at least for the first 2 acts of the movie, because the third act of this movie is just kind of standard MCU shit. But hey, 2/3 of your movie feeling like a fun espionage thriller? That ain't bad. This movie has one really good fight scene where Natasha fights like a swarm of widows all at once, and it's kind of awesome. Also, just some miscellaneous notes, but I saw the criticism that Natasha feels way too durable in this movie, and to an extent I do agree, but it just reminded me of Uncharted, honestly. Like how Nathan Drake can take literal grenades to the face and be completely fine. So if Nathan Drake would be fine, I can live with a superhero super spy being fine. Anyway, let's move on to the bad and what I didn't like about this movie. First up, this movie feels too little too late. This movie doesn't really feel conclusive to Black Widow as a character because it's kind of a prequel to her death, so what is there really to do? And it sucks that they made this after the character died when this movie should have definitely been made and come out when it's set after Civil War. I spoke on the one good action sequence in this movie, and that's because most of the action here sucks. It's just that overly choppy, edited to hell, uninteresting MCU action that they just continue to give us. Fuck off. I really want to make a video analyzing why I hate the action in the MCU, so maybe that'll come out before Shang-Chi, because judging by the trailers, Shang-Chi could have some genuinely awesome action sequences, so I want to make a video analyzing why it's taken so long and how it upsets me, but that's something for another time. But speaking of the action, there is one chase scene in this movie that feels like the poor man's Mission Impossible Fallout, and when you see it, you'll just know. I mentioned before that Yelena is great in this movie, but she does feel like just another MCU character, and I want to elaborate on that. So in this movie, Yelena Belova is this badass who's very good at what she does, has a traumatic past that really messed her up, and constantly cracks jokes. Hey, that sounds like most of the MCU characters, I hear you saying, and you're absolutely right. She's actually very similar to Sylvie from Loki, like nearly the same. Obviously the specifics are different, but the template is the same, and the final product is that the two are largely the same. It's 13 years in, and I'm honestly really starting to get annoyed that most of the MCU characters are mostly the same. They're all these kick-ass, quirky quip machines, and it's kind of starting to wear me down. I don't know, maybe I'm just nitpicking, but I do like having a universe of characters that feel different from one another. They look different, their powers are different, but as characters, they don't feel different. I don't know, maybe it's just me, but watching the shows, watching this, all of it in such quick succession has really started to wear me out on the MCU, I'm sorry. I kind of felt like any character in this movie who wasn't Natasha or Yelena was just kind of bland and uninteresting. Red Guardian doesn't do much for me. Rachel Weisz looks great and she is great in this, but again, I didn't care about Melina. But speaking of characters, that does segue us nicely into Taskmaster, who's about to get his own segment. Oh boy. So straight up, full transparency, I didn't hate Taskmaster in this movie. I know everyone said he's the worst part of the movie. I don't think so. First up, there is a Taskmaster reveal, big face reveal, oh my god, and I was completely okay with it, mostly because I figured it out very early on in the movie because it's super fucking obvious. So I eased myself into the reveal long before it happens. Like right when, okay, that's a spoiler. I do want to talk about this, so quickly, I'm gonna put this on the screen so I can talk spoilers on Taskmaster. Skip to this time, or you can listen. It's up to you. Here we go. video. Also, my dogs are barking. I don't know if that's going to be in the audio. I really hope not. Anyway, here we go. Right when they seemingly show one of the core Avengers kill a child, I tweaked that little girl was going to be important later, and knowing there was going to be a face reveal, I put 2 and 2 together, and I said, that little girl is going to be Taskmaster. And it turns out I was right. Because there's no way they were going to there's no way they were going to let one of the core 6 Avengers be a child killer. Are you kidding me? No! They don't even try to be subtle about it. Like, it's so blindingly obvious. Did they think that was a reveal? And for the record, I have no issue with Taskmaster being a woman and not being Tony Masters. I don't come to the MCU for comic accuracy, so I don't give a shit. Even though that suit does not look like there's a woman in it. I need to see behind the scenes footage of a woman putting that costume on, because there's no fucking way. Absolutely not. There has to be a guy in there, right? Right? Am I wrong about this? It doesn't, if there's a woman in there, it is either a very muscular woman, it's Abby from The Last of Us 2, or it is just padded to the extreme. And yeah, I know Taskmaster is a woman in this, Antonia, but I'm gonna keep saying he and him to maintain the illusion. I'm Mysterio up in this bitch. However, while I didn't mind the identity reveal of Taskmaster, I did mind that it kind of feels like a waste of the character. Taskmaster only does a little bit of task mastering. There's a bit where Natasha goes to hit him with a leg throw and he just Uno reverse cards her ass. It's awesome, but that's the extent of it. He mimics people who aren't even in the movie, like Iron Man, Black Panther, the Winter Soldier, Captain America, Crossbones, Hawkeye, but that's not what I wanted. I wanted people trying to hit Taskmaster with certain moves that he just completely flips around on them, you know, like Taskmaster? That's what I wanted. In this movie, Taskmaster kind of feels like a worse Winter Soldier. Plus, because Taskmaster doesn't master a ton of tasks, it's a role that could have easily been given to any mercenary in the Marvel Universe. It could have been Ghost. Wouldn't that have been cool? That said, I do genuinely love the MCU Taskmaster design. That suit is awesome, and the hot toy has already been pre-ordered. I just hope there's a place for Taskmaster in the MCU moving forward. Maybe on the Thunderbolts with Yelena, US Agent, Ghost, Zemo, and Abomination. Aha, the dream team. Overall, Black Widow is a pretty fun MCU movie that does nothing for a character that deserved this movie years ago. The movie stumbles with dull action scenes, a subpar supportive cast, and a lackluster and ultimately very forgettable villain. But that said, the movie does have one genuinely awesome fight sequence, introduces us to a character who hopefully is here to stay, and features Scarlett Johansson's best go-around as Black Widow herself. I look forward to watching this movie again, but immediately after Civil War, kind of like a pairing. I just want to see how well it all flows together. But that's it. Thank you for watching, and have a fantastic day. But also, next week, Godzilla vs. Kong in-depth review. Here we go.